Hey guys, it's Dave. Today we're going to look at a product from a company I've never heard of. At least I hadn't when they reached out to me last year, and full transparency, I told them no. Actually, twice. What is the first thing I do when I want to know about a new product? I go to YouTube. I go to YouTube and I look for trusted sources, people who have used it, people I know that I can trust their opinion of. I hope we've developed that relationship by now. Although if you're new to the channel, we might not have that yet, but I'm pretty much a no BS guy. So we're gonna open this box up today. It's a double halo light. It interests me because I can put this behind a piece of furniture against a wall and light a table without having to put a hook in my plaster ceiling to hang a pendant light. So this has appeal for me. They've asked me to unbox it on camera. I don't like doing unboxings, but we're gonna do it. And we'll work through it pretty quickly as per usual. And what the heck, we'll just put that in frame and see what we have. Instructions, which, I probably won't read. 3 metal tubes. You can choose your height and make a lot of noise. It's not telescopic, you just leave out one section like you do on some lamps. And then neatly packaged. So that all looks good. Let me put this together real quick. I don't think that's going to take long. First impressions are good because the base plate is metal. It has a foam backing on it. It's heavy. Take note, everybody doing vertical lighting. Make sure it won't tip over. I could name a couple companies right now, including one that is obscenely expensive, but we're not here to do that today. Second impression is also good. The light switch, I almost called it a rocker switch, but it's push button, is up at the top of the light. I recently did a product review for one who had this at the plug. Almost all of my lights are plugged in behind a shelf or behind a piece of furniture. None of them are convenient to get to. I use smart plugs for virtually everything. I think there may be an exception, but so it wasn't a big deal to me, but if you wanted to manually turn it on and off, incredibly inconvenient. So the fact that there are more functions on this than turning it on and off, you can do timer functions and you can change that light spectrum. You need to have access to this for sure. So kudos. I do feel like this could get artistic if I wanted it to. The adjustment, very, very stiff. So that's also a good sign. And just PSA, I am sure you already know this, but when you're making adjustments on metal that is this stiff, don't do it by the light. I'm not saying I tried it on this. I fairly recently broke something as I was trying to adjust it. First rod is in. It is a perfect fit, very tight, good metal threading. Well, I might as well hand in my man card because I had to consult the manual. There are modes on here that I couldn't intuitively put together. You would have. The abbreviations for the spectrum are SVF. Now, I didn't really know that was for spectrum, okay? I didn't put that together. So that is for seedling, vegetative, and flowering. Timer button is self-explanatory, of course. That is 3, 9, and 12 hours. I would imagine, I used to think that 3 hours was dumb, but I have a lot of places in this house that it's very, very dark until a certain time of the day where it's very, very bright. So that supplemental lighting is something I use with smart timers. So that's one of those things, just live and learn. I would imagine most people are going to use this either at 9 or 12 hours. And then we have dimming. You can get 10, 20, 40, 60, 80, and 100%. So those are the presets. If you press and hold, you can choose 1% to 100%. This is really well thought out. The most important thing I want to look at, besides the aesthetic of the light, the temperature of the light, I am no big fan of that blue-white, ultra daylight. It hurts my eyes. We have a green-blue house, which gets a funny cast on everything. Not a good look around here, especially for somebody who's so into aesthetics. But more importantly, the PPFD reading. How many of the usable photons are making it to our plant and at what distance? If this light is only powerful enough to be useful for top leaves, for instance, it's of limited use to most of us, especially if you're going to have a larger plant. If you're going to have a Phalaenopsis orchid and you don't have a lot of surface area, or height at least, to cover, that might be fine. Let's take some actual readings, because that is not something that I've seen anybody do, at least yet. All right, lowest dim setting on foliage, we're looking at about 29, 1 foot from our lamp head, and about 16 down at the table, which is 2.5 feet. Next one up, these are, you know what, I'm just gonna watch the meter on the table until there's a decent enough change that would even warrant putting the results up, because that was a 1 PPFD increment. That jumped us up to 35 at the table, 104 a foot away. And that jumped us up to 46 and 162, 63. And I don't know if this is the brightest setting or not, but we are at 59 and 201. This is actually more impressive than I thought it was going to be. Down here at the table, 2.5 feet, we're at 73, 265. And that's not anything that would be too much for most plants. You may have sensitive low light plants that's too much for. But if you're going a Hoya, tons of plants. And there's a chart I can refer you to. I'll just link that in a pinned comment. All right, and that reading was 100%. So I am going to turn off the studio light that I have. Well, it is a studio light. This just happens to be a dining room. And I want to see what this light looks like to me without the enhanced little bit warmer light filling it. I am wearing a little egg on my face, having kind of dismissed this company that I had never heard of before. When I bought Barina, I had never heard of Barina before, and many other companies, so I don't know what my not having heard of them has to do with anything. Not very much, apparently. Okay, in the Sancy bulb review, I used this green Carnosa and no flowering plant to kind of be the standard bearer of a green plant, just so we could see what that bulb looked like on. It's a very bright bulb. It, for me, is on the cool side, all Sancy. And I tend to use those, as I said in the video, in areas that it's already light in, that it needs to enhance the normal daylight, because they don't stand out. I don't use them like in the living room where it's dark when the lights come on, at least through much of the year, not in the summer. But I don't like that cool hue being the first thing I see. So this has a pleasant light, but it is on the lowest setting. So let's just work through it and see how it looks. Next up, I love how this looks. It'll be interesting to see how it is coming across on camera. That is a very pleasant look. And I want to be clear that I am going into this with no skin in the game. I do not expect to be raking in tons of money from Glowrium, although I will get a commission if you buy from them. I don't ever expect it to amount to very much money, believe me. I am doing this because I was asked to and it looked interesting after I looked at it. And again, I can put this behind a piece of furniture and illuminate a plant right next to the fireplace that's really dark without having to drill into my plaster ceiling. That is appealing to me. As the plaster repair guy, yeah, that's appealing to me. Well, there you have it, friends. I am wrong again. You would think at this point in my life I would be used to that. I mean, the number of things I've been wrong about over the decades, It's astonishing. It would fill our football stadium here at a Big Ten university. The light is fantastic. The quality of light is beautiful, and it measures perfectly. So, full-throated recommendation, unless something has gone wrong between the time I am filming this now, you won't hear back from me again. You can assume that everything is going great, and I remain happy with it. Good to have you here today, and I hope to see you in the next one real soon, okay? Bye-bye.